Okay, thank you, and thank you first for the opportunity to come and talk to you about what we're doing at Gen Phoenix in terms of taking waste from the leather industry and giving it another life. Brief introduction to myself. I am the product development manager at Gen Phoenix. I have been there now for about 5 years. My background is I am a chemist, predominantly a polymer chemist, coatings chemist. I'm not a leather chemist. I'm learning about leather. The more I learn, the more I realize that I don't actually know. So I'm going to talk to you about 3 key things today. Firstly, who are Gen Phoenix and what do we do? Secondly, how do we do it? And as you are technical people, that's I think going to be one of the really interesting things to you. And finally, where is our product used? Why has it been successful? Where it has been successful, and where are we going next? Okay, so I will start off with a comment about who we are. Some of you may know us as eLeather. We went through another round of funding just over a year ago. We were successful in that. We brought in some new investors. The main lead one was Material Impact, who are a venture capitalist company based out of Boston. We also brought on board Jaguar Land Rover, Doc Martens, and Tapestry in the luxury leather goods space. So that will instantly tell you something about the direction that we are taking as a company. The name changed. Gen is really a nod towards a new generation of materials, a new generation of circularity. And the phoenix comes from the mythical bird, which is a symbol of rebirth, of circularity in itself, in bringing something beautiful from something old, and that regeneration. So where did we come from? We were founded in 2007, and the story starts with an inventor called Christopher Bevan, who saw this. He saw massive amounts of waste in the leather industry that was going to landfill, and he thought, there's got to be something better we can do with this material. He set out to turn it into a valuable product, and in doing so, he was successful. And that is the story that has become eLeather and Gen Phoenix. So what did he do? The process he invented, he took waste from the leather industry, wet blue waste from bovine leather, and invented a process for breaking that down into fiber and putting it back together to produce a premium alternative to a traditional leather. The key things that have made us successful: there isn't a compromise on performance, there is no compromise on price, and there is no compromise to the environment. It is a sustainable process. And increasingly from our customers, we are getting interest in that sustainability angle. Okay, let's get into the interesting bit then. So this is what we actually do. We work with partner tanneries and we take their waste, at the moment exclusively bovine wet blue, trimmings and shavings. We collect it, we sort it, and we bring it into our factory in Peterborough. So all of this processing now is done locally in Peterborough, not that far away from here. We sort it, we dry it, we mill it, we turn it into a soft fiber. It's very easy to take leather waste and grind it down into a dust. That's not what we do. We break it down into a fiber. And essentially what we are doing, we are keeping the fiber, we are keeping the properties of that fantastic natural material and keeping some of that in the final product. And that is really one of the big secrets in the company. We have patents on our process. We don't have a patent on how we produce the fiber. We just keep it very secret. And that is one of the key things about what we do. So now we have tons and tons of nice soft leather fiber. We start putting it back together. We use an air-laid process. We form it into thin weighers that we refer to as webs, and we use heat and pressure to press it together. Now, at this point, there is no strength to it. It is as strong as a piece of tissue paper. You can easily tear it, but we've formed it into a nice even web. And again, a lot of the skill of what we are doing is keeping that layer very even. If it's not even at the start of the process, it's not going to be even at the end of the process, and you'll have all sorts of problems. The next stage is the bit that I find really exciting. We start to add the strength to it. And we don't use chemicals to do this. We use a physical entanglement process. So we use high pressure water. We take a sandwich, we have 2 of these webs with no strength in, and we have a textile core in the center that we design and is made specifically for us. And we entangle the 3 layers together using incredibly high pressure water jet. Now, everyone compares things to the thickness of the hair. That jet is about the width of 3 times the width of a piece of hair. Thousands of these jets, very high pressure, and we bind the fibers together. And after this point, we have a strong, flexible material that is not dissimilar in many ways to a piece of unfinished leather. It is a composite material. Some of the properties of it are coming from the leather fiber. So in particular, the bulk, the hand feel of the material, that is coming from the leather fiber. The strength of the material, the stretch properties, are coming from the textile core. And as a technical person, this is the fascinating bit, because we can play with the different ratios and the thicknesses and the type of core to produce very different products for different markets. And I'll elaborate on that a little in a moment. We then move on to some of the processes that would be fairly familiar to anybody from the leather industry. So firstly, we move on to our equivalent of the wet end processes. And my colleague Addis is here. He is from the leather industry. He joined us 6 months ago, and he is really excited by our material, because one of the differences between our material and a traditional leather hide is the density is a lot lower. So in terms of getting fat liquors into it, getting retanning agents into it, there isn't a long process. It's 10 seconds, isn't it, Addis? It sucks it up like a sponge, and that gives us a huge amount of flexibility, really, in what we are doing to the product. And Addis in the last 6 months has made some fantastic samples. We are tapping areas of technology we haven't looked at in the history of the company, and doing some really fantastic, exciting things. The final stage of the process, again, would not be unfamiliar. It is finishing the product with a polyurethane coating. We use a release coating process, a transfer coating process that is sometimes used with a leather hide. It's also used in coating fabrics, and we can introduce a wide range of different textures, different grains, different colors, different feels to the product using that process. Another big difference between what we are doing and what you would be familiar with a leather hide is we are producing product on large rolls. So on the screen, you will see some large rolls of material. For a relatively thin aviation product, those rolls could be 500,000 meters long. They flow through our process, roll to roll process, very efficient, very fast. And that is part of how we are efficient and resource efficient in our manufacturing. Just a few numbers now, just to give you some context of where we are as a business. Since Chris Bevan decided he really wanted to do something about this waste going to landfill, we have processed about 10,000 tons of leather waste. In 2019, we opened our new factory. We now have 2 factories in Peterborough. We have about 6 million square meters of capacity. We're not using all of that yet, and that is one of our strengths, that to our customers, we can offer them a large amount of capacity. Our electricity use is 100% renewable. We send 0 waste to landfill. And of the water that we use in our hydroentanglement process, we recycle 95% of it. We have our own water treatment plant on site that is not dissimilar to the sort of techniques used in many other industries, including sewage and food production. We have independent certification, Higgs certification, ISO certification, GRS or RCS certification on our products. This is really important to us because we want to be honest about what we're doing and we don't want to greenwash. It's very interesting as well and important to our customers who likewise, if they are making a claim about their product based on ours, they want to back it up with data. So we are very open with our partners about our life cycle analysis and how the product is manufactured and what it is made of. A few other numbers. Depending on the product, we can have up to 77% recycled content in there. We carry out life cycle analyses. We can share data with our customers about the carbon dioxide associated with the manufacture. And the water use is very low because the majority of the water that we use is recycled and reused. Now, this is a photograph of our fiber plant. So I can show you this. I couldn't show you what was inside these mills. I had a visitor. I took her around our factory yesterday, worked with her for a while, but she'd never been to visit us. So I described our plant. She told me I had undersold it. So I'm going to get into the mindset now of one of my American colleagues. Our factory is awesome, right? The scale that we are doing it is incredible, and this is our strength. So there are lots of people making alternative materials, new materials, sustainable materials. What is unique about us is we have the ability to do it at scale. And I don't think a picture or a video does justice to our factory. When you walk in and see the scale of it, not only the scale, it is new, it is clean, it is automated. You don't actually see many people there because we can run very efficiently in an automated way. And if you don't believe me, you're welcome to come visit. So that's how we make the product. I want to finish off really with what do we do with the product and how is it used. Main industries that we have been successful so far have been in seating, particularly aviation seating and aviation interiors, also buses, trains, and an element of public seating. So some airports around the world have got our seating. If you visit us in Peterborough, you can nip into the waiting room and you can see some seats there made from our material too. We are moving, as you can probably guess from our investors, into automotive, into footwear, and into luxury consumer goods. But I'll start first with seating, particularly aviation, as that is our biggest market. Why have we been successful? We have been successful because our product is lower weight than many of the alternatives, including a traditional leather. So we're about 45% lighter, and that obviously gives a large fuel saving on an aircraft. We also have the durability, so we can do table data and we can show that we are 5 times more durable than many materials that are used. We also have different stretch characteristics, and this is coming from the textile core rather than the leather fiber. We don't get the bagging and sagging that you might get with a traditional leather, and it lasts far longer than a textile. And so the numbers don't actually matter. What matters is the performance on an aircraft and the fact that those customers keep coming back and buying more. We work with about 250 airlines. We have product on 1 in 5 aircraft globally. You've probably sat on it at some point without realizing. We have made across our seating markets and transportation, we've made enough seat covers to cover about 4 million seats. And we are still successful, we are still growing, and people are coming back because the properties of the product suit that application. As we move into other markets, we need to change the product. It needs to do different things are important. One of the tapestry brands is Coachtopia, who is the sub-brand of the Coach handbag brand. Last year, they launched a handbag which had sustainability as a theme. The outer of that bag is actually made from cutting room scraps, bits that were too small to make a whole bag, but they have reused. The lining of that bag is a material we produced, It doesn't actually have the polyurethane coating on it. It's got the leather fibre on. You can probably guess which part of the bag we want to do next. We're not new to footwear. We've done footwear in the past. We have made enough material for about a million shoes that have successfully been out in the marketplace for many years. We're working with Dr. Martens. A few weeks ago, they launched some of their iconic boots using material that we have produced. Now, as we move into these new markets, obviously, different properties become important. We start with a lightweight aviation leather that is flame retardant. Talk about a boot, different things are important. Flexibility is important. Durability is important. And because we have this modular composite product, we can easily tune those different properties. And I think as a technical person, that's what's really exciting. You've got lots of levers to play, lots of games to play, lots of toys to play with. We're not stopping there. We want to carry on improving. We're proud of what we do. We believe it is a good thing for the environment. We want to keep improving. Carbon dioxide emissions, recycled content, reducing the use of virgin fossil fuels. Those are all really important things to us. Likewise, moving towards full circularity, bringing our product back at the end of the life and turning it back into something else, another seat cover, another boot, and another handbag. So thanks for your attention. I hope you found it interesting, sort of our journey from Chris Bevan's initial concept to reaching the scale that we have done now. Thank you.